The magic question is, what is due diligence? Why is it so important? And what's the fuss about? So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what it is, unpack why we do it, and the end result that comes from due diligence, and why many of us that have done the due diligence for the deals that we sell make the money we make. So if you stay until the end of this video, you'll be able to understand the tools, the supporting tools that help you through due diligence and why it's important. Welcome to my channel. My name is Genevieve Stafford Jack. If you're new here, I'd love to welcome you. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so that you're notified each time that I upload a video such as this. And if you're returning, I'd love to say welcome back. Now, the topic about due diligence. This is the word that used to drive me batty, like ding, 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 ding. I would get so irritated hearing this word because I never really saw how it fit until we used simplified English. Sorry, I need to have something simply said to me before it really resonates. And here's how I'm going to simplify it for those of you that are questioning this due diligence. Due diligence just means, did you do enough research about the property, right, that shares with you why you think this particular property will yield a profit and why you think this particular property needs a certain strategy? And this is how we do it. When you go and you view a property, number one, you want to drive around the neighborhood. Then you ask, how far around the neighborhood? I usually take a 1 kilometer radius rule of thumb. So if the property is here, 1 kilometer around the property, I look at the different properties that are in the area. What are people doing with it? I get curious about it. If I see a for sale sign, sometimes I will call that estate agent and I go and view that property to actually understand from more than just one estate agent what is happening in the area. Many people call that part of it as driving for dollars. It's just part of driving for dollars. So nonetheless, that is my first set of due diligence, meaning my research into the area. My second part of due diligence is when I am viewing the property, I ask the real estate agent what makes the person want to sell. Now, in my experience, I'm not saying people lie all the time, but I do find that sometimes the truth is embellished. So in my experience, I find that 50-50, the first reason that they give as to why the seller actually wants to sell is not entirely the truth. And I let it be. Why? It's okay. We all need to sell something and we do it in our own different way. So nonetheless, I view the property from outside first, around the property, and then I go inside the property. That is my due diligence. Why do I call it due diligence? It's my research about this particular property. Right? It's not market research, it's the property research. Because when I'm walking around the property, if I see something outside, for example, if you see a crack in the wall outside, you're not guaranteed to see it inside, right? If you see hairline cracks on the windows outside, you're not inclined to see them inside because the curtains are drawn, or there's a lace curtain or something that's going to obstruct you from seeing what is happening outside. If you're walking around outside and there's a bit of mold and things going on, then you immediately know there's plumbing. So which then means when I'm inside, I also have to see some sort of evidence of what I see outside. That is my research about the property. And this is how it all comes together. You start picking up all the information that you need to know. And then you're asking the questions. Oh, I saw that there was mold outside. What happened? Because I see inside it's all fixed. So what was the root cause of the problem? You know, you want to understand those things that are happening. And again, once you've done that, generally, the real estate agent will give you what they call a Lightstone report. A Lightstone report is taken from a website called Lightstone. And this particular report extracts information that has been registered at the deeds office and gives you a bit of a comparable analysis. You are comparing what's happening with this house versus all the other houses that have sold in the neighborhood. So this is why that particular report is important. For me, when I get that report, the first thing I see is the date that it was extracted, because that report at times can be manipulated, or it's such an old report that I don't actually see some of the property that has been sold recently. So now, while I mean, just think about it. I've just gone to view the property. How much have I not collected this information? This is all the information that comes together that we call due diligence. Now, when you are a wholesaler like myself, property sourcing agent, you put all of this information very succinct together on a proposal. The real estate investor, property investor, wants to see that you've done your homework. When you put the Lightstone report or a TPN report in there, they then see, okay, cool, you have gone through to a tool that is giving you what is actually happening factually in the neighborhood. When you are able to put information down together that this is how you view the property, this is the builder that you use or the contractor that you use that gave you a certain quote, they see you as professional. And the nice part of not necessarily being seen as professional, but the nice part of putting all this information down in a proposal, it leaves very little room for that investor to actually question, firstly, your expertise, to question what's happening around in the property, because they now got the opportunity to do their own set of due diligence. Because while you've done that, you can say to the investor, here's all the information, right? Now you go and do your quality checks. They're going to potentially do it in a different manner to you. And this is why we make a fuss about due diligence. Because if you can drive in the neighborhood, you can understand why somebody is selling. When you go back with the builder to actually do a quote, you're viewing the property again. When you start negotiating, you're able to negotiate based on what the builder's found. And taking it a step further, do you know how important property inspection actually is? I mean, like, it's so underrated, but it is so essential, especially when you start seeing one crack too many. I would want to know that in that offer to purchase, if I'm signing it as a wholesaler, that I want to know that based on the outcome of a property inspector, I'll either take this or I will not take this, because I need to understand whether this particular property is structurally sound. There's so much that goes into actually researching. It sounds a lot to some people and they get overwhelmed and they throw up their arms and say, this is too much for me. But others of us that have done it over and over and over and over, it's become that job that you now can do currently where you are in your workplace blindly. You can actually jippo the system in the space. And when I say jippo the system, how many of us actually work for full 8 hours, okay? And how many of us actually work for about 5 hours? And because we know how to do the work that we know efficiently, we can get away with the other 3 hours. Just throwing that one in for good measure, just throwing it out there. But nonetheless, as a good ethical real estate wholesaler or a property sourcing agent, you really just want to know that all the research that you could possibly do, the negotiation that goes into it, that you have really gotten a deal that is sound, that is going to help both the person selling as well as the investor that's wanting to make money from this property, because you did your homework and you did your research and you left no room for question or error in your proposal. And that's what due diligence is all about. So I trust that you've enjoyed this video. And if you are interested in property investing, I'd like to say at the end of this video, I'll put up a playlist where it is really just from the beginning to the end about what goes into property investing. It's a 9-hour training that I did free here on YouTube at the end of March. And I know that you're going to find it insightful.